Continue with issues around traffic, and those volumes are on the increase as holidaymakers return from their trips. Now, there's heavy traffic on the major routes leading to Gauteng with a steady increase of vehicles since Monday. The N1 highway has been provided with more resources as it has been identified as a hotspot. Let's get the very latest from spokesperson of the Road Traffic Management Corporation, Simon Zwane. Thank you very much, Mr. Zwane, for joining us this afternoon. You've just heard, I'm assuming, my conversation there with an official from the Road and Traffic Agency within the Free State about a traffic involving multiple vehicles from human error that has happened on the N3 concession. Give us a sense of what the roads, including the N1, as people make their way back to Gauteng, have looked like. Are you satisfied that there's largely been a very few or no incidents that have harmed the lives of people on the roads?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, that crash in the Free State would be a blot on an otherwise splendid record that we've had this year, and that it will result in major delays on that route coming into Gauteng, and we want to urge motorists who are on that route to exercise patience and allow emergency personnel to finish their work in terms of clearing the road. But the roads have been busy. There have been more than 1,000 cars coming in from on the N3 into Gauteng in the last hour, and 1,680 coming in on N1 through Pumlani Plaza, and another 1,400 coming in on from Mpumalanga, from in the Middleburg toll gate. So the roads are still fairly busy, and would want to advise pedestrians to get out of the road at this time because the roads are not safe.
You did mention earlier on that there have been resources that have been deployed to manage the levels of traffic that we will be seeing over the next few days. In terms of that management of the traffic and roadblocks that may be occurring on these national concessions, are you satisfied that there are few people who have broken the law in terms of drinking and driving, not having the valid driver documents and the like?
Yeah, we are largely satisfied with that. The large majority of people have traveled safely. They've obeyed the rules of the roads. But yes, there are those few who were taking chances, and they were nabbed driving under the influence of alcohol and driving without valid documents. And there were those who were driving recklessly and negligently. All of those have been arrested, including some who had outstanding traffic fines that they had ignored. So warrants of arrests have been served on those people. But we are satisfied with the level that we have maintained on the road, visibility of our traffic officers, and the number of traffic fines that they've issued, vehicles that they've stopped and checked. We're happy with the progress so far.
I'm glad you bring up the issue of traffic fines and warrants of arrest being issued for those who've ignored or neglected to pay their fines over the last period or so. Maybe just give us the rules in terms of what exactly is applicable by a traffic officer when a motorist is found to have traffic tickets of a certain amount. Is it arrest on the scene? Are they made to pay everything on the scene, or what exactly is that process? Because there have been instances where road users have said that they have been barred from travelling any further unless they settle their full fines. And you can appreciate, Mr. Zwane, in the current economic times, despite having fines, many people aren't able to settle an entire fine on the side of the road because a traffic officer has said it has to be done that way.
It's not the traffic officer that says so. It is the law that says so. So traffic officers are there to enforce the law. If we leave those matters unattended, we create a culture where people can simply ignore traffic fines. and then they will be able to drive recklessly with impunity on the roads, breaking all the rules of the roads. So those must be enforced as well. If we are to have serious about having discipline on our road and about reducing the number of people who are dying on the road as a result of crashes, so we must allow police to do that. If we are to build this culture of safety on the road and culture of respect for the law and the rules of the road.
And what has the Traffic Management Corporation, Mr. Zwane, seen in terms of complaints or reports of traffic officers taking bribes? Have you seen a positive decline in instances of this nature, or is it still a problem that you are still dealing with as a corporation?
We have so far seen a decline on that, and that is because of the effort that was made at the start of the festive season, where some of the officials who were involved in taking bribes and corruption on the roads were arrested. So that has had a positive effect because we have not heard of more reports of officers involved in such kind of malfeasance. And up to so far, it seems to have been so good. But we still advise motorists who may find themselves in that situation to contact us so that we may follow up.
And I ask that because I'm just wondering, a lot of traffic officers will intimidate motorists. I'm sure you were aware, Mr. Zwane, especially when it comes to the payment of traffic fines and the like. So one wonders, unless I've received a summons to say that this is how much I owe and I have to pay it immediately, how are you then sure that a motorist actually did ignore that they had received a fine via the mail or whatever it may have been?
Look, ma'am, a warrant of arrest would be issued not by a traffic officer, but it's a document issued by court when you have ignored a summons to appear in court on a particular day. And to assist motorists to be able to check on those things, we have on our online platform put in all of those traffic fines on online.netis.gov.za. If you put in your profile there, you'll be able to see there's a dashboard which will be able to tell you the number of traffic fines you have and which ones have already warrants, so you can deal with that upfront yourself and avoid inconvenience on the road.
Yeah. And then just a final thought from you. You've seen over the last few days the explosion in Boksburg that really shook the entire country and caused the deaths that it did. The driver has since been dismissed by the law authorities, saying that they are yet to continue the investigations and find sufficient evidence, not to say that the case has been thrown out completely. I just want to get your thoughts on that decision by the NPA to release the truck driver in this instance until, as they say, they've got sufficient evidence to take the case forward.
Well, we believe that there is evidence, and police will be able to find that in due course. There is evidence that that vehicle was not supposed to be traveling on that road, because that road is not meant for such vehicles. And if we look at the route plan that he had been given, we'll be able to find evidence that can be presented to court to show that there was negligence either by him or the company that employed him. So as that investigation continues, we are positive that they will find the evidence that they'll present to court, and the matter will be prosecuted.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Mr. Simon Zwane. That is the Road Traffic Management Corporation spokesperson, joining us to speak about the traffic volumes on the N3 and the N1 as many holidaymakers make their way back into Gauteng ahead of the working year, which is started to set in a few days.